If you live in Katy, Richmond, Rosenberg, Fulshire, or anywhere in Fort Bend County, your daily commute could be about to change in a massive, massive way. A huge State Highway 99 expansion, it's also known as Grand Parkway. The project has been officially announced. We've known it's coming, but this one's designed to address some of the biggest problems we're all dealing with right now, which is traffic. But here's what most people are not talking about. This project isn't just about fixing congestion. This could completely reshape the growth, the development, and commuting, driving patterns that we see here all around the Fort Bend County. And if you've been watching what's happening around Austin Point, the Fort Bend Toll Road extension, Grand Parkway corridor, everything gets very, very interesting. So let's break this down. Fort Bend County leaders and the TxDOT, Texas Department of Transportation, they're moving forward with a major Grand Parkway expansion along State Highway 99. We've known this has been coming. The goal is to widen portions of the highway. They're going from 2 lanes in each direction to 3 lanes in each direction. So there's going to be a little bit of an expansion. This is going to be to reduce congestion, improve mobility around the west and southwest region of the Houston area. And honestly, if you drive 99 regularly, you understand this. Traffic along Grand Parkway has exploded over the last decade. Fort Bend County has become one of the fastest growing areas in Texas. And honestly, it's been that way, one of the fastest growing areas in the country for a long, long time. People, they're moving here for newer homes, better value. They're getting more space. The master plan communities are massive, and there's a lot better, easier access into the Houston area now. But growth has officially reached a point where infrastructure, it's just struggling to keep up. And right now, TxDOT they're stepping in to address it. We've needed it for a while. But while this sounds like it's great news and long-term it's gonna help, there's also reality that we all need to prepare for. Now let's talk honestly about what this project is probably going to look like over the next couple of years. Because yes, the end results, it's going to improve a lot of the traffic flow. Accessibility is going to be so much better. But before we get there, there's going to be a ton of construction. We're Houston, we've been through that. We know about the lane shifts, the delays, the frustrations that come apart with that. So TxDOT is estimating that once the major construction begins, portion of this project should take several years to fully complete. But there's good news. Officials have stated that most of this work is expected to happen within the existing right-of-way, meaning they're not anticipating a lot of displacement of homes or businesses, but those that are in Fairchilds understand that could really affect them. So that's something we've always got to keep in mind. Projects like this can sometimes create a ton of disruptions for communities. But it sounds like they're really trying to minimize this impact. Now, personally, I think this project, it became inevitable. There's just so much growth happening. The growth happening right now in Fort Bend County is incredible. And whether people like it or not, this area is no longer considered outside of Houston. It's just grown so dramatically and so quickly. We're practically in Houston, right? It's no longer the country. We're officially like a part of the suburb, so it's something we're gonna have to get used to. Let's think about what's happened over the last several years, really decades. Communities like Harvest Green, Cross Creek Ranch, Jordan Ranch, Sienna, Ellison, Brookwater, and especially Austin Point, where I'm at right now, they've completely changed the landscape of Fort Bend County. These aren't small little developments anymore. These are massive. Developers are building lifestyle communities. We're talking about walkable districts, future retail centers, commercial development, parks, schools, trails, entertainment, mixed-use development. Just the residential expansion is massive. And of course, we know commercial is going to come right after that. Buyers, they're responding because compared to many parts of Houston, buyers, they can still find new construction, larger homes, more land, and the honestly, the value is going to be better out here than going to be inside the city. That demand is exactly why roads like 99 have become overwhelmed. The Grand Parkway was originally designed to support the growth, but I don't think anyone anticipated how quickly this part of the Houston area was going to blow up. Fort Bend County is just getting crazy big. So especially after the pandemic, remote work has changed everything. People suddenly have become more willing to live further away from Houston if they can find the right spot. They get more house. The quality of life is going to be a little bit better. They're better communities, and Fort Bend County has been one of the biggest beneficiaries of that shift. But now let's talk about the part that I personally think is one of the most important long-term stories that's shaping Fort Bend County right now. Austin Point, like I said, I'm right here right now. If you haven't heard about Austin Point yet, this is going to be one of the largest master plan communities in the Houston area. And what makes it especially interesting is where it's positioned, because right around this area, you're going to have something major happening. It's the convergence of the 99 corridor and the future Fort Bend toll road extension. It's all going to be meeting right here in this community. And this is going to transform all of Fort Bend County. Think about it. Residents in this area could potentially have, oh, not potentially, they're going to have easier access to go into Katy, to get into Sugar Land, easier access to the Med Center, and then so much easier to connect to Houston overall. That changes everything for the long-term development, because transportation infrastructure drives growth always. Retail is going to follow all this development. Businesses are going to follow mobility. Developers, they're going to follow the infrastructure investment. And so you see this is a whole, everything piling up. And when you start seeing billions of dollars moving towards the highways and toll roads, all that is going to be right here. We know where the future of growth is happening, and it's right here in Fort Bend County. Now, obviously, nobody can guarantee the future, or the future appreciation of homes or values, or exact market outcomes. There's so much happening, but historically speaking, major infrastructure improvements tend to increase accessibility and demand over time, especially in suburban markets like Fort Bend County. When commute times improve, or at least become a little bit more manageable, it expands the numbers of buyers that are willing to move further out. We've seen that with Sealy and people that move from Katy out there. And that creates more demand for communities along these corridors, which is why areas around Richmond, Rosenberg, Needville, Fulshire, this whole region of South Fort Bend County, it continues attracting so much attention right now. And honestly, I think we're just starting to see the transformation of this area. As a matter of fact, I know we are. When you look at the population growth, the development activity, the commercial development, all the investment going into the roads and retail expansion, and of course the migration trends, Fort Bend County is just in its infancy of what it's becoming. Now here's the million-dollar question. Do you think expanding the expansion of 99 actually will solve the long-term traffic problem? Is Houston and this area of Fort Bend County, is it growing too fast to keep up with the highway system? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because I genuinely want to hear your perspective. This is such an important part here in Fort Bend County. And if you enjoy this content about the growth of the Fort Bend County, let us know. We see so many things happening here in Fort Bend County, the real estate market, the master plan communities, new developments, and we're sharing all that here with you. So make sure to subscribe, because I cover things every single week. And if you're thinking about buying, selling, or relocating into the area here in Richmond, Rosenberg, Katy, Fulshire, Needville, even Fort Bend County, all of Fort Bend County, we're here for you. Feel free to reach out. Thanks again for watching, and we'd love to see you in the next video. Take care.